Hey everyone, welcome to a Travel News Roundup. We're going to talk about some big news out of Chicago as United Airlines has really shaken up their elite status program, MileagePlus. They've changed the way how travelers will qualify for the different elite status tiers starting in 2020 for the 2021 program year. Let's dig into the details just a little bit. Hey everyone, my name is Ben and welcome back to ExploreInformed, where we dig into the details of travel so that the next time you go exploring, you can go a little bit better informed. Before we jump into the United news, if you like this channel and the content and are kind of happy with what you see, feel free to subscribe with the subscribe button down over here. That does two things specifically. One, it helps our content show up in your feed in the future, and two, it kind of helps our channel. More subscribers, more likes, more attention we get, kind of the better we do. Now today I want to talk about some big news out of Chicago around United's elite status program, MileagePlus. As I mentioned in the intro, United is changing the way that you qualify for elite status by changing kind of the metrics or kind of qualification criteria that are used by United. Now this is important for a number of reasons, but kind of the biggest single specific change that people are talking about, people are complaining about, is the fact that United has literally removed the mileage flown criteria from the elite status qualification kind of formula. No longer does it matter how far you actually fly in terms of earning elite status. United has kind of shifted that lens from looking at distance flown and dollars to really just being dollars. Now presently in 2019, United has a couple different criteria by which you can qualify for elite status and then kind of move up through the different elite ranks. Right now that is a combination of premier qualifying miles or premier qualifying segments and premier qualifying dollars. So distance flown, number of flights flown, and dollars. It has to be kind of one of those two and dollars. In 2020, that is changing. United has introduced kind of an entirely new metric called premier qualifying points, which is based on the number of dollars you spend. They've also changed the premier qualifying segments into premier qualifying flights. The big change there is that kind of all flights are treated the same starting in 2020. There's no kind of bonuses on different segments, no kind of multipliers added based on fare class or cabin class traveled. All flights are basically treated the same. Every takeoff and landing is one flight. But the big news here is the premier qualifying points, and that being kind of the main metric. Again, the miles flown don't matter. Premier qualifying points are based purely on the amount of money you spend to purchase that specific ticket. Now, 1 point is equal to $1. But United would say this is kind of an upgrade or an improvement over premier qualifying dollars because they actually have added a couple things into that calculation that weren't included before. Maybe you redeemed an upgrade award and used your miles to upgrade to a different cabin. If you had to pay kind of a copay or an additional fee on top of that, that would also be included. United is also now including money spent on other Star Alliance airlines when that flight was ticketed and operated by another airline. So there are a couple of things United has added in that they would say is an improvement over United qualifying dollars, and that may be true, but the big change here is that the mileage piece is just removed. It's purely a function of flights or money spent. Now, United is giving you the option of earning elite status based on two different things. You can have premier qualifying flights and premier qualifying points, or simply on points alone. So flights flown and dollars spent, or basically just dollars spent. But the threshold for dollars spent is higher, because they're acknowledging that we still kind of want to make it a little bit easier for people who fly a lot. But we're also going to give an option to people who fly less and just spend more money. United has 4 tiers within their kind of elite program, which they call premier status levels. I think that's what they call them at least. There's silver, gold, platinum, and 1K, 1K being the top. So starting in 2020 for program year 2021, United will require 12 premier qualifying flights, so 12 takeoffs and landings, 4,000 premier qualifying points. So $4,000 spent, basically. Now, you also have the option of earning elite status based on points alone, and that number for silver is $5,000. So it's 12 flights and $4,000 or $5,000 alone, no minimum on the flights. For Premier Gold, it's 24 flights and 8,000 points, or 10,000 points only. For Premier Platinum, it's 36 flights and 12,000 points, or 15,000 points alone. And for Premier 10K, it's 54 flights and 18,000 points, or 24,000 points alone. Now, one of the big changes is, in the past, if you flew on a Star Alliance partner, but that ticket was issued by United, you didn't earn premier qualifying dollars. With the new program, you will receive kind of credit for the dollars spent on flights ticketed and operated by Star Alliance carriers, but it's kind of a factor applied to those kind of reduces the value a little bit, but at least you're getting credit where you didn't get credit before. If it's a preferred partner, the Premier qualifying points will be calculated based on the award miles issued for that flight divided by a factor of 5. And if it's a MileagePlus partner, it will be based on the award miles issued divided by a factor of 6. So kind of a weird formula, but again, you're getting credit where you did not get credit before. Now, people might ask why United is making this change. I will read you exactly what they're saying on their FAQ, which is mileageplusupdates.com. So they've created their own standalone website to talk about the changes. I think they realized they are big ones. Probably wanted to address a lot of these questions in advance or kind of right off the bat that they knew people would ask. So why are you making these changes? As the MileagePlus Premier program evolves, we want it to be relevant for all types of travelers. For this reason, distance will no longer be used for qualification in 2020, and members will instead qualify based on the value of tickets purchased and the number of flights taken. We're introducing these changes to align the way members qualify for status and to better deliver Premier benefits to our most loyal members. Basically, they're saying we care most about the amount of money you spend and less about the number of flights you take. We don't care at all anymore about how far you've actually traveled. It's kind of unfortunate for a number of people, but it's not really that surprising. Who it hurts is it hurts the people who may have purchased tickets far in advance, maybe for a fairly low fare, but it's a long flight. They're not going to get a lot of bang for their buck if that's what they're doing. What it helps people who probably spend a lot of money, maybe buy some last minute tickets, who don't travel a long ways, but spend a lot of money. I actually fall into that bucket. I travel a lot for work, but I usually buy my tickets pretty last minute, a couple days out, or at most 2 or 3 weeks out. And I'm usually not traveling very far, like Dallas to Chicago, Chicago to New York, that kind of thing. So I'm not traveling far, but I'm spending a lot of money. And this kind of type of program would probably help me because it would reward me based on spend, and I would be less concerned about how far I'm traveling or how many flights I am taking. But I think there are a lot of people who are upset, and deservingly so. These are big changes. They really kind of radically transform how elite status is earned on United, and it is going to hurt part of their customer base. Now, there are a couple things that are not changing. United is not changing how award miles are earned, so they'll still use the same factors that are multiplied based on the base fare spend. I think it's 5 to 11 times the different factors. So the award mileage calculation is not changing. And United is also not changing how lifetime elite status is changing. If you're new to the miles and points game, most of the major airlines will award lifetime status based on how many miles you've flown basically since birth. So they just kind of count that up and accrue it over the course of your lifetime as a customer with that airline. And they will give you basically permanent elite status, and you can kind of move through the tiers just like you would annually, based on how much you've spent, how much you've flown with that airline in your lifetime. So that is not changing. That is based currently on the number of miles traveled, and that will remain the same right now. Now, these changes kick in on January 1st, 2020 for the program year 2021. So this new methodology will kick in for all flights operated January 1st, 2020 or later. So I know we just talked about a lot of details, but I hope this information was helpful. I hope it kind of helps you also understand kind of where United is going with their elite status program. This is clearly a shift towards looking at big spenders and kind of focusing their energy and kind of the elite benefits on those customers. It is unfortunate for a number of United's customers, but it isn't really that surprising when you think about where the industry is going. Everything is based on spend. We've seen the issuance of award miles being changed to a formula based on spend. We see now award redemptions based on the price of a ticket. Everything is moving towards dollars, which is unfortunate, but not really that surprising. Anyways, thank you for watching this video. As usual, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at ExploreInformed. You can visit us on the internets or the interwebs at ExploreInformed.com. Please leave a comment down below about what you think about these changes. Are you a loyal United flyer? Well, if so, what do you think? How does this make you feel? What is your initial reaction? Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.